Hello, Tigers. I'm Bodie Fontaine.
I'm Jarrett.
On this week's show, we talk with Mr. Carricker about the challenges of producing a yearbook from home.
We catch up with Miss Godfrey in the HOSA Club.
Mr. Stanfill fills us in about the current situation with sports during COVID.
And we talk with Aubrey and Peyton about the changes made to Mr. Battleground.
Thanks for joining us. Your BGTV Home Edition starts right now. Creating a yearbook is a hard enough job as it is, but this year's crew faces an even bigger challenge. How do you make a yearbook when you can't be together face to face? Well, Jarrett spoke with Mr. Carricker about the challenges of creating a yearbook from home.
Yeah, well, do you know that in the state of Washington, you technically have to ask people's permission to record them? It's recording right now, though. I hit record.
Oh.
But do I didn't know.
I need to record it on my end, so that way I can.
All right, hold on.
All right, so today I am here with Mr. Carricker, the teacher of yearbook, to talk about yearbook this year. First off, what is different about this year's yearbook?
What is different about, well, pretty much everything is going to be different. As of up to this point, we don't know if sports are going to happen. Clubs, I know there are some clubs that exist. I don't know if they've really ever met. So as far as what's going to be different, our content's going to be much different. We're going to be relying on students and staff to submit a lot of pictures and quotes and that type of stuff, content through Google Forms and other electronic means. So as far as what's going to be different, most of the book, what's going to be the same? Well, I don't want to steal your next question, maybe, but
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
what's going to be the same? I guess we're going to do our best to, like we did last year, capture the events that happen throughout the year so we can document it like a little time capsule and do our job as historians of the school.
Okay, so that leads into my going off of the Google Forms thing, is how are we going to get to those said Google Forms?
All right, so we're trying a few different things. We have a website that's been created, and there's an Instagram page that no one knows about yet, but it exists. And through the Sunday emails that Mr. Yingling sends, we're going to try to get the word out there. The Sunday email hopefully will point people in the correct direction to get to the website and the Instagram page. And then when people access that, there'll be a whole bunch of different links that are labeled, and they can click on the link, and that'll bring them to the Google form, which they can complete and then submit, and then we'll have access to it.
Awesome. So do you think that this year's yearbook is going to be as good as years past, or do you think it's going to be kind of so-so?
I think it's going to be as good as last year's, the only other one I've done for the school. It's just going to be different. So obviously it's a weird year. So the book, I think if the book did look like it did last year, then we wouldn't be doing justice to the weirdness that we're in. So what I can promise is that we're going to do our best to bring you high quality coverage of students, staff, and events at our school. We'll do our best to make sure it looks professional, and we'll have a whole bunch of unique content. So I think actually some people might find it more interesting than last year's because of all the weird stuff, content that's going to be in there that, like last year, we didn't actually have an opportunity or available pages to get these different ideas or content. So it'll be weird in a cool way.
Awesome. So students wise, do you think this will be easier on them or harder on them?
For students creating the book?
Yes, for students creating the book.
Well, up to this point, I'd say it's been a lot more difficult, but a lot of it is because I am not the greatest with technology, and so I'm trying to wrap my head around how all this stuff's going to work. So I think that for the most part, it might be a little bit more difficult, but once we get the technology kind of figured out, and once we figure out the forms and how those are going to work, it might actually end up being a little bit easier. So my answer is going to be this. It's going to be harder until it's easier.
That's a fantastic answer. I will definitely take that.
Hopefully it gets easier sooner rather than later, though.
Yeah, I definitely feel as if there's probably going to be a learning curve that starts off very steep, but then starts to kind of shallow out.
Yeah, so my learning curve has been like almost straight up at this point, and so hopefully I'm learning a few things. I personally would prefer to do it the old-fashioned way, but
Right.
Here we are.
So this is going to be my last question. What
Okay.
is your absolute favorite thing about teaching yearbook?
I guess my favorite thing, like I already mentioned, is just part of it is just being the historian for the school and trying to document what goes on throughout the year. And I guess one of my other favorite things is trying to include unique perspectives and trying to get maybe shine the spotlight on kids that otherwise wouldn't have that on them. So I guess being the historian for the school is fun. Getting to pick and choose and trying to do our best to capture what's happened and getting as many kids involved as possible. So the whole school is represented and not just, like sometimes at schools, there's a select group of kids that get a lot of attention. And
Right.
so with the different parts of the yearbook, I mean, it's not just the athletes that get all the attention. There's the academics and the clubs and that type of stuff. So
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and effort.
you're more than welcome. And hopefully we have a good yearbook this year, right?
Well, let's hope so.
All right, cool.
Speaking of yearbook pictures, did you get your school pictures taken? If you missed the first picture days, don't worry. Picture makeups are scheduled for Monday, December 14th from 2 to 6 p.m. in the main gym. We'll need the pictures for the yearbook and our school IDs when we get back to school in person. Don't miss this last chance picture day.
Hello BGTV, I'm Cyrus Moreno and I'm here at the Battleground High School tree sale. Oh, today I'm here with Austin Cloak.
I am Austin Cloak.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Where are we today, Austin?
Today we're at the Battleground High School band Christmas tree lot on the corner of Albertsons.
And what are we doing here?
We are raising money for the band program. As, all of the money at Battleground goes to the sports, so yeah, we're raising money for the program.
So, you think the arts need to be funded more? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Completely the band, so we're getting 100% of the proceeds.
Nice. Did you know that you're as tall as that chair right there?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Austin Cloak.
Yes, thank you.
Now I'm here with Evelyn Samuel.
We're raising money for the Battleground High School band.
Okay, can you tell me what are the hours of operation here?
From 10 to 7.
Or what days is it open?
Monday to Sunday.
Okay. Do you like trees, Evelyn?
Yes, I do.
The BGHS campus branch of the IQ Credit Union is giving back this year, and they need our help. They are working with two groups with this year's Giving Tree. The IQ Credit Union and KGW are sponsoring a toy and clothing drive. Bring in any new unwrapped toy or clothing item to any IQ Credit Union branch by December 9th, and your donation will help make a difference this holiday season. They are also working with the Amboy Yakult PTO. The PTO is collecting gift cards this year instead of toys. You can drop off gift cards with security just inside the BGHS main entrance, or make a cash donation using Cash App to this Cash App. Your donations will stay in the local BG area and help those in our community in need. Thanks for your generosity, Tigers.
We have a lot of clubs and activities to get involved in here at Battleground High School, and some are even continuing to meet over virtual learning. To talk more about one of the clubs, I set up a Zoom interview with Miss Godfrey and interviewed her about HOSA. Hello Tigers, I'm here with Miss Godfrey and we're going to be talking about HOSA activities and the upcoming blood drive. Hi Miss Godfrey, how are you today?
Hey, Brody, I'm doing great.
That's great. All right, let's just get right into it. So with our first question, I'm just going to ask you, what's HOSA been up to recently?
Okay, HOSA is actually still meeting and we're getting new members and we're doing lots of fun stuff. It is virtual, so it's not as fun as if we were in real life learning. Yes,
Right.
Ready to cheer. Yeah. So, but HOSA meets after school virtually through Zoom every Monday and Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And they play games. They have done quite a few Kahoots. And then they have been organizing a blood drive and a newsletter. And
A newsletter?
Yeah, so they have a newsletter that's gone out to everybody. You guys might have seen it. That talked about how just the world has changed and how they're still just trying to meet and build friendships and have that social connection that we're all so lacking.
Right.
Yeah, so if people get a chance, they should look out for it. They did a really good job. I had no part in it except for to proof it. Hopefully, if there's a spelling error, remember that's my fault, not theirs. Okay, so yeah, but as far as the blood drives, we've already had 3 blood drives. Okay, and they look totally different. They're not as fun, and for all of everybody that donated to use it to get free things and skip class. I mean, save a life. And I'm sorry that's not happening this year. But if you still want to donate blood, we're holding a blood drive a month at the United Methodist Church in Battleground. They're much smaller. They're following all CDC guidelines, social distancing, and all safety measures. And our next blood drive will be January 19th, I think is what it is. Yeah, January 19th at the United Methodist Center.
Okay.
And what's really neat is the Red Cross will test your blood to see if you have any antibodies that fought off COVID. And so it's quite interesting. And so, and the need for blood's more than ever. You know,
yeah, with everything going on.
Big blood drives. So.
Right. Awesome. All right. So, what is going on with health science careers at the moment? Kind of talk more about your classes and.
So those of you that don't know, HOSA is the Health Occupation Student Association. Okay, and to be able to join HOSA, you have to take Intro to Health Science Careers, and freshmen all up can take the class because it helps give you training in healthcare or just life. You don't have to even be interested in healthcare to take Intro to Health Science Career and join HOSA. If you just want to help out with things and have friends that have similar, interests. And so Health Sciences has been, we've been doing OSHA training. And so it's an online program. It's been at their own pace. They can take the test as many times as they want, but employers are looking for that now more than ever in this.
What we're going to, this new normal.
Right. And so it's actual certification from OSHA. It's a 10-hour OSHA card that employers know that you know how to be safe and the safety of others in the workplace. So even as freshmen, you come out with job certification to add to your resume.
Wow, that's really neat, actually. That's really helpful. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, it comes with a little boringness because it's OSHA, But,
right.
So if you have problems sleeping, it's a great class. But no, they read it to you and they keep it interactive.
Coming in at question 4. I heard about your fall leadership conference. What did you guys go over at the fall leadership conference?
Oh, so HOSA had a fall leadership conference. Of course, it had to be virtual, but this was for the entire state of Washington.
Oh, wow.
Put it on, yeah. So there was over 400 young adults, all HOSA members that joined, and they got to do workshops. And so they learned leadership skills, they learned, assessment skills for a patient, and then they ended up playing a bunch of games. So I guess they played a game where they would tell it better and would have botched it. So for all the HOSA members, I'm sorry. But like who did it, like who did the mystery, who did the murder, and they made a lot of friendships in just playing games, and we're trying to still get that human interaction, and they got to
kind of get to know you.
Yeah, and it was just really cool. But over 400 people, I couldn't believe it. It was a hit.
It sounds like a good time. Okay, how has Health Science Careers adapted to this mess of virtual learning we got going on?
Right, and it is a mess. We all want you back in school. We do, I promise.
Right.
Okay? But we're sending home kits too, and some of the other career and technical education programs are doing this too. So my students for the month of December are going to be making chapstick at home.
Ooh.
They're going to be making hand sanitizer and some hand lotion. And they get to do it in their home. They're going to video show it because it's really important to know how to make your own pharmaceutical, but make sure you know what's in the chemical, what's going in your skin, because that absorbs into your system, and we want to make sure you're getting cancer-free products. So they get to do that and it's all part of the class. So it won't cost them a thing. They don't have to go to the store at all. They just have to sign into Zoom, and we'll make these things together, just trying to keep the fun in it, keep it light-hearted and engaging.
Right. That sounds like a really good time. All right. Coming in at our final question. Obviously, I assume I know the answer to this, but would you recommend joining HOSA?
Well, I would hope so, right? I'm the blindless, fearless leader, but I do. I like HOSA a lot, and so with HOSA and with my classes, we are starting small groups to get to bring them into the building and follow, the state recommendations, but to bring that hands-on learning. So we're going to have small groups coming in starting next week.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so we get it approved. Mr. Yangling is, our fearless leader above us.
Yep.
And we make sure everybody's cleared through the nurse at Battleground High School. And in fact, we were gifted with, and if anybody knows what it is an anatomage table. And it's a virtual dissection table. And so they will be coming in small groups to do human dissection right here at Battleground High School. So they can pick between a male and a female, and it's clear down into each layer of the human body. And it's so realistic.
Wow.
It's amazing. I've been in my own time just playing with it myself. So I have to share now.
It sounds gross, but it's virtual, so I guess it's not as gross.
Yeah, because you won't have the smell.
Oh, the smell, right? Of course.
No, you do have to wear a mask, though. Right? Thank you, COVID. So, and then we are actually creating a health sciences clinical lab. So we are getting a EMT stretcher and paramedic stretcher donated that will be in there. We have some wheelchairs, so we might have to have some wheelchair races. And we're going to have a patient bed and a dental chair. So as you guys are off doing your virtual learning, we're doing a bunch of remodeling, knowing that we're going to come back, and we're going to come back better and stronger than ever.
That's awesome.
So excited for us to get through this pandemic together, keep bonding together and making the best out of this, just bad situation. But do what we do and adapt and overcome and come out better for it. So you guys, I can't wait till I have you guys all back in the building, and we can strap a few people to a medical backboard, and then transfer you to a stretcher and throw you in a wheelchair, maybe a patient bed, and just practice some good on hands-on medical skills and have fun while we're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Godfrey, it's always fun with you around, and thank you for watching Tigers, and that concludes our segment for today.
Well, I miss everybody, and thank you, and I hope you guys all have happy holidays and stay safe, and if you need a mask, Kaiser's giving them out for free. So,
thank you for being here, by the way, Miss Godfrey.
Guys.
Are there any other clubs that you'd like to see promoted? Let us know about your club and how we can help promote it.
Seniors, order your senior sweatshirts and swag bags now through December 18th. Sweatshirts are only $27 and will be delivered in January while it's still cold. Swag bags include a drawstring bag, tiger mask, phone pocket, Senior Crown, Tiger Pride pin, and Class of 2021 bracelet. You can purchase all items online. The link in the Sunday email from Mr. Yingling. Swag bags can be picked up on Wednesday from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. from the outdoor entrance to room A4 by the playground across from the football field.
Battleground Public Schools is offering students the opportunity to take the PSAT on January 26th and the SAT on March 3rd. If you are interested in participating and have an IEP or 504 that includes accommodations for state or classroom testing, you may be eligible for accommodations through the College Board. Please email Mr. Adam Horn at horn.adam@battlegroundps.org, and requests are due on December 7th, and for the SAT are January 12th.
It's been an up and down year for our athletes. We're still hopeful that we'll have sports at school this year. Luke caught up with Mr. Stanfield to get the current state of athletics in the district.
Thank you, Jarrett. And so I am here with Mr. Stanfield, here to talk about bringing back of the sports practices. So my first question for you is, what are the precautions that the school is taking to get the players back in and practicing for their sports?
Sure. So, and by the way, hello, Luke. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Of course.
The safety protocols and that sort of thing that are outlined for us are ultimately given down to us by the governor and the health department. So that's all the guidelines and the precautions we take for that, go through them. Then that's filtered down through to our school district, who then takes a look at what those protocols are, how it fits in with what the school district wants to do. And Battleground School District may be different than the Vancouver School District or Evergreen or Camas, those sorts of things. So they make a determination on what the risk management and those sort of things what we'll do. And then in consultation with the district leadership and administrative and risk management teams and the district athletic director, we put together plans and the protocols in place and follow those according to our local health guidelines and what the district has for us. And we coordinate with Prairie High School, so we have similar things that we're all looking on the same page about. And so logistically, certainly there's differences in our two campuses, but at Battleground, there may be specific things we want to do a little bit different, but the overall protocols are very similar and really given to us by direction.
Okay. So with bringing back sports, are we allowed, are the full contact sports able to practice, like football and soccer and different sports that are full contact?
Right. Currently, right now in the Battleground School District, the answer is no for contact, full contact. And when I say no, I mean football in particular. Okay. As far as soccer and those sorts of things, the governor has given us some restrictions that we can no longer have inside sports. So the outside sports can still function, and there's still things can be done outside. But there was recently some information that I received from the WIA here just a week or so ago, talking about practices overall during this hybrid piece or during this out of season time. And then they talked about counting contact or full contact, like you're talking about full contact sports, like a tackle football. Yeah. So there are places around the state that it may be allowed depending on what the local health, in their counties are doing. So WI says that that can happen, but our local school district has said no to the full contact. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's the equipment factor, the cleaning, all the things that go with that because of the COVID is very difficult. So our kids are, practicing conditioning. They can go through those things. But as far as full contact, I see football as full contact.
Yeah.
Soccer and outside things are still allowed to participate and play. They're even allowed to do some inter-squad things as long as they're wearing masks and following the guidelines that have recently come out. But that can be done. For soccer, can still do that sort of thing. Okay. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So you mentioned that indoor sports aren't being allowed to practice indoors. Are they still able to get together and condition by running on the track or different forms of just exercise for the players to stay in shape?
Yes, absolutely. They could do stuff outside as long as they're keeping their social distancing, physical distancing, those sorts of things. Yes, the governor says we can have things outside, we just can't be inside right now, but yes, they can do things. Yeah.
Okay. Has the recent lockdown that we've been put in, where we're not as many things are open and we're kind of confined, especially with the amount of people, how has that affected our practices?
Yeah, well, it's affected us from everything from this last spring when we couldn't do anything to earlier. We were able to have, they opened it up to where we could see in pods of 5. Then and there was several different factors and different numbers and ratios they were looking at. And the governor finally came out and said, we're going to scrap all of that. And we're going to follow this one specific guideline. He laid out very clear, specific guidances. And what that put us to was we could be in pods, and we called them pods and groups of 6 to 1. And that really kind of changed things for some of the different teams. That for football, that made a difference because you could do things, on your line. Soccer, you could do some things that impacted basketball. You could have a 3-on-3 scrimmage. So that really kind of changed the dynamics of it for us. And then, so just recently with the things that are just the restrictions that have now come down, they've taken the 6 away from us and we're back down to the 5. So again, it's just coaches have to be creative, and they can have pods, and then they can have, for 1 hour we could have a certain amount of pods, maybe the next hour a certain amount of pods. The biggest thing is at this point, whether it's 6 or 5 or anything, is we call it cross-pollination, making sure that kids are staying separated in their groups and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Will the players ever be required to be tested for COVID?
So there's no test required to participate in athletics. Now there is attestation things that we do, whether you come into the building here, if you're doing the internet cafe or you're doing different things, there are attestation protocols we have to go through that we follow, that's been outlined by the school district for us. But as far as testing, to be, at least at this point, we're not being told we have to do anything like this. So there's no requirement to be tested. Now, if somebody comes down with a case or if something happens, then there are, again, the protocols and guidelines that we follow that would involve the trainer and the nurse and things like that, may or may not have to be tested, those sorts of things. Those are the protocols that we would walk through individually with the kids, or if there happened to be a pod of kids or something like that.
Thank you for participating and being willing to answer some questions for us.
Well, you're very welcome. And I'm just really looking forward to the time when we can get back. I know WIAA, their mantra is we want to get kids back. We want to get kids back. Even just the practicing part's so important. Certainly, I want to get to the point where we can have some games. That would be ideal. One of the things we have to consider is the opportunity to get back to play games. One of the things we have to take, even though maybe Battleground can play, but then who do we play? Like a Kelso, their numbers are farther down than ours. They may be able to play, but they may not be able to play down here in Clark County. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. And I just know that the importance of having kids out doing things, being involved with their coaches, being together are incredibly important, not just for the athletics, but for the emotional support of everybody. And as soon as we get the opportunities, we're going to do everything we can to get kids get back in the game, whether that's practices and that sort of thing. So having a chance to have moments like this to kind of explain that and talk about that. I appreciate the families, how flexible they've been. The kids have been amazing coming to school, following the rules or the requirements and the protocols we've asked of them, because we're in a bigger picture than just Battleground School District or Battleground High School, because the numbers that we give, what we've been allowed to do to have the different pods, that information has come from other states that are already doing sports. There's 39 states around the country that are doing sports, and this information and data came to Washington that allowed the governor to make the decisions he did. And so the data that we're collecting, what our kids are doing and how great they're doing, and the coaches are being so meticulous with this, with our athletic trainer, that data is also being gathered by the state. So we can say, listen, we're doing this right in practice, and we're doing this right now. We can make this work for games too. So we can make it happen. And the kids, the families, everybody's part of this. And so even though it's a bit frustrating, we are all part of a big picture to help everybody across the state and in our county get back to doing sports and being the activities we all want to do. So
Definitely. Well, I'm very excited to see how our spring season comes.
yeah, great. I appreciate it, Luke. Thanks for the opportunity to do this.
Of course. Have a good day.
Thank you.
To prepare for your sports seasons, you must clear using Family ID. Go to www.familyid.com and click to get started.
This year's annual Mr. BG has a new name and new look. Mr. Foster got the scoop from Aubrey Carlson and Peyton Bodley to see what's new with Mr. BG this year.
Hi Aubrey, hi Peyton. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being here to talk to us about the Best of BG pageant. I'd like to start off with, we have lots of new freshmen and new students that transfer in every year that might not know what the pageant actually is. Can you get a brief explanation about what the Best of BG pageant is?
Yeah, so the Best of BG pageant is a charitable pageant we do every year. We've just changed it over this year, so it's a little bit different, but we raise money for a very charitable cause. That we still up in the air what it's going to be, but we're hoping to have that figured out. We have 12 boys. This year it's 12 boys, girls, and they all put on a show for everybody, and it's going to be super fun.
It's a lot of fun. Do you know how long it's been going on? What year this is? 16 years. I've actually been to every one of them. I've recorded them. It's a lot of fun. But I did hear you say that there's a change this year in the 16th year. What is that change?
So this year we have actually changed the name and the whole format of how the show is going to be. So this year we've changed it to The Best of BG, and it used to be called Mr. BG. So The Best of BG is more inclusive. It's just trying to keep up with the times because we're kind of dated with Mr. BG. So I think it was time for a good change.
Yeah, from what I understand, we were like the lone holdout, the last school to change over. So I think it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. What segments are involved in the show? What are the different segments?
There are talents. There's acts such as swimwear and sleepwear. Then there's the beneficiary part, college plans, what the seniors plan to do after high school, and dancing. Dancing is a big part of the show.
That is a fun part of the show. What's your favorite part, Aubrey?
Mine would have to be the talents. It's fun to see if they come up and decide to sing or act. The acting can be quite funny, and it's just always a good time to see that they're enjoying themselves out on stage.
Sounds like a lot of work, a lot of segments, a lot of work goes into this show. Is it just a couple of weeks that the guys work on it this year guys and girls, but how long is the process for putting together the show?
So we've started at the beginning of the school year. Me and Aubrey personally got elected last year. We were junior directors last year, so we got put into this position, and we've been planning it since the beginning of the school year. It's a pretty long process. But come January, we are going to start with all the dancing and the practices and get all the script and everything. But yeah, it's quite a process. It's not an easy thing to pull off.
It sounds like it. So it's a bit of a time commitment, but it's really fun. Now we're in COVID. So last year we were planning on having it, and it got canceled, right? And so they did a little bit. They still raised money for charity last year. If we are still quarantined, are you planning on having the show this year? What are you planning on doing?
Yes, we still plan on having the show. It'll plan to be more virtually, where we'll probably not have an audience, but we are either hoping to have the boys come in and we'll film each segment of them and piece a video together to have live streamed, or if we do get to the point, maybe we can actually have the show and just live stream it to people at home.
And we won't know for a while, I'm guessing. It's all up in the air right now.
Nothing.
Yeah. So hopefully by then, it's in April, is that right? When the show's in April? So we have some time to figure this out. I've had several students from my class that have been in Mr. BG as it was called before, and they said it was really the highlight of their time at Battleground. Thanks for joining us today, and good luck with the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to be part of the show? Get your applications in now.
And a very special thank you to our guests.
Thank you for joining us today.
Do you have an idea for a story?
Let us know at bgh.tv@battlegroundps.org.
And we'll see you next time.